What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and I'm gonna be breaking down Brad Riddell versus my boy Drew Dober. Man, I love this fight. I wasn't sure if I was gonna break this down. I was kind of, I don't know, a little busy today. But I was like, I got enough time. Might as well put this one in a bag and give this one to y'all. And I don't know, I might drop it, I don't know, on Wednesday or Thursday, but yeah, pretty bored right now. So I guess, yeah, let's look at the stats for this fight. Awesome fight, by the way. I love this matchmaking by the UFC. I think fight of the night overall by any means necessary. If this doesn't win fight of the night, I mean, oh my god, it's gonna be a travesty. But man, Dober, Riddell, both guys have backgrounds in Muay Thai. Obviously, Riddell is the superior Muay Thai fighter, but it is what it is. In terms of this matchup, Dober is ranked. I think he is ranked, and he is in the rankings. I'm positive. UFC rankings. Let's look. Yes, Sersky, Drew Dober, number 13. So, really good thing for Riddell. Riddell has a record of 23-10, so he does have 10 losses, but he's an experienced guy, man. That's a lot of fights, man. He's fighting out of Denver, Colorado, age 32, height 5'8", and a reach of 70. Riddell is 9-1. So in terms of the experience in MMA, you have to go with Dober. Sorry. Riddell's fighting out of New Zealand, age 29, a height of 5'7", and a reach of 71. So even though Riddell is the smaller guy, he does have the reach advantage. In terms of notable wins for Riddell, if we look at it, I mean, he's very new in the sport, but he's got some good wins, and he seems like the veteran every time he fights. Has a win over Jamie Mullarkey, which is aged really well. Beat Magomed Musafayev, and then Alex Da Silva has a really good record, so I'll give him that. Or Alex Da Silva, sorry. His only loss in MMA is to Abel Britis. That's really young in his career. He was 3-0, fought 11-5 guy, lost by armbar. Let's see where Abel is right now. Abel is 12-7, and is coming off a loss to Jamie Mullarkey, which is interesting. That's fun. That's kind of funny. And no, actually, he isn't coming off a loss. He's coming off a loss to BJ Bland. That's actually funny as hell. I didn't know he lost to Jamie. But but yeah, man, Riddell, I mean, let's talk. All right. The Jamie Mullarkey fight was a war, but I knew Jamie was going to bring the heat. Man, you look at what Jamie was talking about. Jamie talked about his loss to Volkanovski and how motivated he was that day. I think Jamie was ready to die against Riddell, and Riddell obviously won the fight, but man, I don't think Riddell ever got really dropped in that fight. I do think he was a little drunk, and I think he just was taken back by how motivated Mullarkey was to not lose. He was, dead set on, I am going to win this fight or I'm going to die, and Riddell had to go through that. And I don't think he won the fight, but I don't think he broke Mullarkey. And nor do I think he really owned Mullarkey. I think he just more or less survived that Mullarkey, Or he survived Jamie, man. I don't want to call it guy. I know his name is Mullarkey, but, it is what it is. And then has his fight with Magomed Musafayev was an eye-opener, because Magomed, I don't rate him too highly, right? Because he's not ranked, but he got a good win over Fiziev, and and he's fought against decent competition, but and he did good in this fight. It's not like he got destroyed, and he got dropped in the first, and then the next two rounds were really debatable. He did his thing, but Magomedov made a bit of a comeback in the wrestling, And then the Alex Da Silva fight, even though Riddell, I give him his credit. That is, to me, his best win. And I mean, it proved that like this striking is something to respect. It's just the thing is, I don't know if his striking has fully, transferred to MMA. It's the thing with Titty Boy Adesanya, right? So I remember there was this period with him is that he had a real hard time transferring his MMA striking, not his MMA, his kickboxing to MMA, and you could see it, especially even in the Marvin Vettori fight. Since we get there, but since the Marvin Vettori fight, he found, that special sweet spot in the Derek Brunson fight, and then the Brad Tavares performance. And then Anderson Silva, right? He ended up figuring it out, and then he had some problems with Kelvin, and Kelvin was another one that kind of exposed like he doesn't know how to react too well to takedown feints, right? And he gets caught. So that's something I look at Riddell, is that how well does he do with different MMA feints? There's feints for, I know that at City Kickboxing or City Kick Bitches or whatever they're called. I'm not sure what it stands for. You never know, right? But they don't know how. Not all of them. I think Dan Hooker's probably he's a different exception. But a lot of them, I know they do a lot of feint training, and I understand that. I've heard about that. I think they do an hour of just feints, right? As a warm up almost. So I do respect them, and they have a lot of great tools in this game. But MMA it's a different beast, man. And we're going to see how well he reacts to takedown feints, because Dober he has a wrestling background. He's not going to use it in this matchup, but he is a high school wrestler. So it's something we're going to see when, because it's like there's feints in, kickboxing or boxing, right? But then when there's a feint for a takedown, but then someone throws an overhand. And sometimes these guys, at City Kickboxing, man, they leave their hands to their goddamn fucking waist, right? Some of these guys punch from their nipples, right? So they're not keeping their hands up, right? And they defend and they sprawl, against takedowns with their hands super low. So that's not necessarily the best thing in the world when you're, when someone is throwing an overhand at your face. You don't necessarily want that. But and that's the thing with Riddell, and we're gonna find out. In the Alex da Silva fight, Alex did a phenomenal job of getting takedowns, feinting, right? But he kind of broke and he got tired, and Riddell ended up coming out. But that was, I was like, wow, okay, maybe this kid is not as good as I thought he was. I was really high on Riddell. It's hard to say. He's a really good Muay Thai fighter. So I can't say he's not a good striker, but it's just, it's a different game in MMA, y'all. And I think he kind of got a little exposed, man. And is this a proper jump up in Drew Dober? Yeah, I think it is. It's a decent jump up for him. Somebody that will strike with him. And maybe Dober might just strike with him. He might just actually make it a Muay Thai fight, or you know what I'm saying, or a kickboxing fight where he doesn't even attempt no takedowns, and maybe Riddell doesn't have to worry. But dude, man, like Alex da Silva, man, he made him look. I was more impressed with Alex in that fight. Wow, he looked that good against Riddell, right? Because I held Riddell to a high standard after that Magomed Mustafayev victory, even though the grappling was a little, but I don't know, man. Just the kid, he got some stuff to work on. I do believe that, and I would like for him to have some. I honestly, watching that Da Silva fight, man, I think Gregor Gillespie would have done really, really bad things to him, because it's not like Gregor could get tired, but he doesn't quit though, and Brad needs to work, man. He needs some work, man. That's what I'm saying, because there are some holes in his game, and if someone exploits it, and I think Drew can exploit it, it's going to be a bad night for him. Dober, on the other hand, if we look at notable wins for him, man, he's been in this game for a minute, man. He's fought, the who's of this division. He's coming off a loss to Islam Makhachev, but in terms of his best wins, I'd probably say Alex Hernandez, and then Nasrat Hoscroft, I think that's how you say the kid's name. I mean, that kid's Nasrat has been winning. I think he's won his last 2 fights. He just beat Alex Munoz and then I forgot the guy's name, some late replacement, but that's a good win. Sorry. And then who else in terms of really great wins? Scott Holtzman, right? That's a decent. A lot of I guess good guys beat Scott Holtzman, and that's about it in terms of guys he's lost. I would say that are notable. Brandon Gritz, Bellator vet. I mean, in my humble opinion, part of one of the greatest Bellator fights I've ever seen. But that's another topic for another day. What's it called? Will Brooks, Sean. Well, no. We're not gonna say Sean Smith. Olivier Ben Morcer. He lost via rear naked choke. So that's a really, really interesting fight to look at. I mean, a lot of grappling was used in that fight. Dober is he does have a grappling background. He has competed in grappling tournaments. If you look at his IG, he's always posting things. But man, it's one of the first fights I saw Dober, and he got choked the F out, man. Olivier looked like a goddamn monster in there. Man, he made Olivier look good, and it's crazy Olivier got cut after, he's in the PFL now. But it is what it is. Lost to Benil Dariush and then lost to Islam Makhachev, right? But he was on a good win streak, though. Knocked out Polo Reyes, knocked out Nasrat, and knocked out Hernandez, right? I thought he would have. Man, I was thinking about riding with him over Diego Ferreira, and here's the thing with Islam Makhachev fight. I've been in a weird spot with this kid, man. I don't hate Islam, but I do see the fans. I will say that. He is an AKA boy, so, and I almost forgot he trained at AKA. I have to give him a pass for that. So I'm not gonna hate on Islam. I've made that decision. I was battling with that decision, and I'm gonna let that go. Islam is a really good talent. He's a very talented guy. I'm not gonna say he's the next champ, but he's a talented guy, and there's no shame in losing to him, right? But for Dober in this matchup, I mean, he got dominated, man. He got dominated bad, and I mean this was, to me, the Dober versus Islam fight was almost like the afterburner of UFC 240. What was it? It's 240. Was it 244? What's the Khabib and Gaethje card? I forgot what the Khabib and Gaethje card was. Something else. No, it's not 244. UFC 254, right? Because Khabib beat Gaethje. Gaethje's teammates with Dober. Khabib's obviously cousins with Islam. So it was kind of like that afterburner, right? The continuation of that saga, and it went the way it went. Basically, AKA owns elevation. There's just certain things that happen in life, right? You got to pay your taxes. People end up dying, and AKA just ends up owning every single gym. It's just shit. Ends up owning every gym, right? But I've been impressed with Dober. Besides that, and losing to Islam, there's no shame to it. But I mean, he got a chip on it. He should have a chip on his shoulder. And he needs to be ready to fight. And I think he wants to get that taste of defeat out his mouth. And I think he's going to be really motivated for Riddell. Riddell, obviously, I mean, he's been in a weird situation where he's been supposed to fight and it's been canceled. And he was in 2 situations with Gillespie, and it just ended up falling through. And it ended up to a point where, he didn't want to fight. They didn't end up fighting, basically, right? It got canceled on the day of, which was nuts to me. So it's going to be interesting. But with Dober in this matchup, I think... Okay, I'll talk about how ways I can see Riddell winning. So, in the stand-up for Dober, I mean, it's going to be really hard to beat this kid, but he goes forward a lot, right? So, he's going to eat shots. He's had that bit of a problem where he's eating a little too much, heat. So, Riddell should be on his back foot, chop at the lead leg, because Dober, he throws his hands a lot. Even though he has more of a Muay Thai background, he likes to throw his hands. So attack the lead leg, use your jab. He does have a reach advantage. use your footwork. You got to be on your bicycle. You almost can't let this kid hit you. And I can see Riddell maybe squeaking out a decision, but Riddell likes to go forward too. So it's one of those things. Now with Dober, here's how I see Dober winning. He has to let this guy know this is an MMA fight. This isn't your city kickboxing bullshit. You know, and this is my thing with this city kickboxing gym. They came to this sport. I like Hooker. I like Volkanovski. So I'm taking those two guys out of the equation. Kai Kara France, this motherfucker Brad Riddell, and Adesanya. 3 of those punks, right, came into the sport like they owned it, and they did their thing. I give them their credit, but they all tasted defeat eventually. Besides Riddell in this company, right? Kai Kara France learned a valuable lesson. Talking crazy. I remember he was talking about title shots before he fought Moreno. Got slapped up a little bit up in there. Same thing with Adesanya. Thought he was going to be champ. It's not that easy. Jan's been in this sport for a long time. Moreno's been in this sport for a long. You think these motherfuckers are chumps? You think they're just going to sit there and let you take their spot too? And Dober's the same way. You think Dober is a fucking bum now because he lost to Islam? Dober, as much as he's a high school wrestler, Islam's been wrestling his whole life. Dober is a striker, right? You know, being like, I don't get it wrong. Some high school wrestlers that go into MMA become great MMA wrestlers. Like you know, you look at Frankie Edgar. Did Frankie wrestle? I'm not sure if Frankie wrestled in community college. I'm not sure. He might have wrestled I might be lying, but I'm pretty sure. I only hear about Frankie when he wrestled in high school and stuff. That's all I hear, right? So he could have wrestled in college, right? But like it doesn't even matter. He's not as much as he does have a wrestling background. It's just not the same thing. It's not the same level with Islam. And I mean, you know, it is what it is. And to doubt him now, you know, to assume that he's going to lose this fight, it's just crazy to me. He's been here longer. He got, in my humble opinion, he has more power, and I think he wants it more. I really do think he wants it more, and I got to go Drew Dober. I think Dober will get this done, and I think he'll prove a lot of people wrong, and he'll show people that now I want to look at the Tapology thing. Let me see. I want to see how people are going. So 35% are going Riddell and 65% is going with Dober. So I'm not alone on this actually, but I think he'll just show the Aussies, the Australians, and the people around the world that he ain't going nowhere. You ain't taking my spot. Nasrat tried the same shit. You remember Nasrat beat Mark Dukeski and he thought he was the GOAT. He learned a valuable lesson about Dober. I think Dober gets this done. I really do. How do I got Dober? I got Dober by decision. So I think Dober's power. Riddell's tough. I don't think Riddell's getting knocked out, but I think Dober's gonna get some knockdowns. I think he should level change too, just to let him know. I'll go for the takedown. Throw the overhand, confuse him. Just pressure him. He has, good pressure, and the way he doubles up with his cross, I think he'll hurt Riddell, man. He'll hurt Riddell bad, and Riddell's not. He's gotten into wars. You know, Jamie Malarkey forced him into a war. If he gets in that gunslinging battle with Dober, I don't think he's winning that. I think he's gonna get rocked. So I don't think he's gonna get finished, but I think he's gonna get rocked. And the reach advantage isn't. It's just by one. It isn't too crazy. So and I think Dober also being the taller guy is gonna help him a little bit too. So yep. I think I got Dober by decision. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. In 18 minutes, I went pretty long, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm gonna drop this on Wednesday, so I'm gonna drop this right after Bilal was probably in the morning, right? So the Bilal Muhammad Maya fight was breakdown, not fight, was in the morning. So I'll drop this in the afternoon. It's 6:30, so not in the afternoon, but I'll drop it today. And then yeah, man, it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Love y'all and goodbye.